Round, trying to farm it out from the bottom of the pack. Very scrambly football, and umpire James has picked out a free kick, and it's going to go the way of South Melbourne's David Ackerley. Tumbles a punt over the mud patch towards half forward. Some good soccer tactics there, and again by McConnon, but that one in danger. Greg Smith, kick number 26 to half forward. South desperate for a goal, spooned out to James. He shrugs the tackle, steadies, is forced onto the left boot and is well offline for 1 point only. Well, if he could have converted then it would have made it very interesting. But they've got the ball down in that attacking zone. If they can bottle it up and score a major from here, anything can happen in the game of football. Still plenty of time left for either side to win. Some 15 and a half minutes gone in this final term.
Well, Fitzroy seemed to have had the game in control, Sandy, but when you look at the scoreboard, certainly if they can get a couple of quick goals, they'd be right back in at South Melbourne, but their forwards have to show a lot more skill in the wet conditions. And there's a free kick picked out to, looks like Ron Alexander on the bottom of that pack. It is half-back flank. Kicks it long towards centre wing. Players set themselves, clever use of the body by John Roberts, back towards the boundary line, and the ball will be thrown in once again. So it's 16 minutes gone in the final quarter, and the difference at the moment is 24 points, 4 goals straight.
True centre wing position. Rendell is 9, Allender coming over the top, 14. A smothered kick virtually still at centre wing. John Roberts, having been moved into defence, has opened the door. There's a bad handball. Now a chance for the Swans down towards Smith. Goss now, long handball out. Gives the opportunity to Smith. He steadies, goes goalwards. McCarthy going back on it, but it's offline, and another point on the board. No opportunities going begging here for South Melbourne. 8-16 to 13-9. My word, Smith and Evans would be two of the best players on the ground as McCarthy brings the ball back into play. No mark played. Here's Evans. He gets a favourable bounce. He's in business. He goes. Flicks one into goal, but it's out of bounds, and out of bounds on the full. Bad luck for Bernie Evans, but he's found support hard to find in the forward lines. There's Chris Hansen from the back pocket. Prodigious kick. Big pack of players fly for the ball. Push down, a chance for Les Parrish, who'll be first to it, and is quite content to head for the boundary line for yet another throw-in.
Half-forward flank, this time about 30 metres around from the behind post, and Fitzroy 87 to South Melbourne 64. Can they get a goal, South Melbourne? They certainly need 2 or 3 quick ones to get back in this game. They've had plenty of chances up on that forward line, as we've been saying. Here's the kick from Evans, back towards the full forward post, but once again they're held out, this time by Jerry McCarthy, as he takes a strong mark over the back of Max James. There he goes. Unheard of many years ago, handballing across goal, but there it was to Laurie, back to Serafini. He goes over the top with a further hand pass to McConnon. McConnon kicks long towards half-forward flank. Paul Morwood drops back, and a strong mark taken by Paul Morwood on half-back flank. He immediately plays on and kicks it back over centre wing towards half-forward. The South Melbourne player looked at his opponent instead of going for the ball. There's the kick down further field, and a good diving mark taken by Lee Monet. And good, clever players. He gave it to McMahon. McMahon back to McConnon. McConnon should have hand passed. That was bad play by Lee McConnon as he's kicked out of bounds on the full. What about a hand pass over the top to Poynton would have meant an open shot at the goals.
I think he was just told that.
Carter, penalty kick, taken back by the umpire, and has to kick over his mark. Rod Carter, and even in this quarter, Sandy, South Melbourne have had the chances to get back in the match, but the forward line very, very disappointing.
Yes, they've had plenty of opportunities. Round, a great mark. He's played tremendously well. Mark number 10. He's had a prodigious number of handballs. Parrish, a long handball to Monaim. Well shepherded by Serafini. In towards full forward. Round, just about collided with John Roberts. The big fella recovered. Now a chance for Carter to come away. He does so. The long kick into the mud, and Hansen takes a good grab. Not too many players forward of centre for South Melbourne at the moment. Stacked in this Fitzroy attacking zone. Serafini caught. Round, shovels it on. Players going in very hard indeed, and umpire James has come in. He's picked out a free kick to the man on the bottom of the pack, and that's Rod Carter. Quickly on, he goes to Rhys Jones. He's caught. Play allowed to go on. Rendell in trouble. A hurried left foot kick is going to go over the line on the full. So South Melbourne's Rod Carter again to relieve some of the intense pressure that's been down there this term.
Yes, Rod Carter started off at fullback and then had a stint in the back pocket, now back at fullback. And there's that, a mark number 11 to Barry Round, and as he shoves Alexander out of the way, then gives a hand pass to Ackley. Is he caught? No, he gets away from Manane. Goes out wide. They're kicking too short, South Melbourne. A beautiful shepherd there by Mark Browning. Onto the left foot he goes, and a magnificent pass has found Max James. The hand pass, it was a bad one, but it comes to Tony Morwood. Clever play, Morwood. He gives it back to Browning. Browning, a hand pass over the top to Kevin Goss. They're messing around with it. He's caught. Hand pass, he gets in, but still they should have kicked that ball 2 minutes ago. Browning dives on top of the ball. In there also for Fitzroy was Conlon. Out it goes to Brown. Brown further afield to Parrish. Parrish traps the ball, grabbed high. Beautiful hand pass to McConnon. McConnon kicks short towards Poynton. Rhys Jones from behind, or was it Wetzel? Wetzel it was. Over the back towards Manane. Manane will go over the top again to Rendell. Rendell with a hand pass to McMahon. McMahon into the open goal. A beautiful goal to Fitzroy, and that's how you play the game. Magnificent teamwork by Fitzroy as they put on the board goal number, still waiting on the scoreboard attendant, goal number 14. 14 goals, 9 Fitzroy. South Melbourne are 8 goals, 16. And that's what we haven't, exactly what we haven't seen from the South Melbourne side today. They've just been blazing away anywhere and usually far too short. There's Stephen Wright giving it out towards his teammate there on the bottom of the pack, and Tony Morwood. Players going after it. The ball coming out towards centre wing. Fitzroy, it'll be 2 against 1 here as Parrish on the right foot. No, it was Coleman on the right foot up towards centre wing. Punched away by Wetzel. Grab, Manane ducked the header. Should be holding the ball in my opinion there, but still Manane very lucky to get away with that one.
Going short. It's a dangerous kick too, and Smith will come in for South Melbourne. He's had very little support today. Gets the handball across to Morwood. Over the centre mud patch. A rather tactless shove. Sees Laurie in possession. Swing the ball out wide. A beautiful pass to McConnon. Here they go again. McConnon, a long kick up towards Rendell. He's the meat in the sandwich. Can't complete it, but the big fella recovers well. Needs support, heads towards the boundary line. Roberts is there under pressure, keeps it in play well to Teasdale. Teasdale, listen to that. Fitzroy fans have got memories like elephants, and his kick has been marked just on the defensive side of centre by Laurie. Out wide to McConnon. McConnon again. Runs round right. Goes short to the half-forward line. The mark taken by Ross Thornton. He's too far out to score. It has Quinlan and Rendell. Down towards full forward. Over the back, Thornton tries to set up the handball. Poynton again, loses it. Out towards Evans, McMahon goes in. He gets shoved out of it and was held whilst not in possession. McMahon has kicked one. Bernie Evans asking the question, what did I do? And he's being told.
Well, it'll be a very hard kick to score from there because he's got a kick in the mud patch, and also he's kicking into a fairly stiff breeze there, and players realising that because there must be about 12 players in the goal square anticipating that this kick will drop short.
He's 35 metres out, Peter, almost directly in front, using a very heavy football. Well, it certainly won't make the distance as far as the goals are concerned, because it went out of bounds on the full. You can work that one out.
I can't.
Well offline. And it'll be South Melbourne's Jackson to bring the ball back into play. Looking for and finding Barry Round. A tower of strength straight onto Evans. The handball a fraction low, but this boy has the skills to get out of it. Has a bounce. Could be in trouble here. He's got no support. Eventually flicks it round the corner and finds Smith. Greg Smith hurries on with another handball. James is too slow to get rid of it. He gets caught, pushed to the ground. Players allowed to go on. Morwood picks it up, sets up the handball. The opportunity is there now. Umpire James letting play go on. There's eventually a hurried kick by Laurie goes to the outer side. It'll go over the line and a throw-in to take place while players sort themselves out in the last line of defence.
Well, the strange thing about this game, Sandy, is probably the 4 best players on the ground would be South Melbourne players. And yet you see Fitzroy with a commanding lead, and that just shows that they haven't capitalised up forward. Here's the kick coming back towards centre wing. And there it is, out of bounds, right in front of the South Melbourne coach's box. And you can see Ian Stewart there in the centre, next to Ricky Quaid and Tony Franklin, and they would be very unhappy men with South Melbourne's performance. Certainly they've tried hard in this quarter, but they cannot score goals. Here's the ball coming back towards centre wing. Oh, Alexander gets bundled out of the way, still trying to get the ball. South Melbourne through Ackley, come out to centre wing, the hand pass coming back to Ackley. He's caught with the ball. Desperate play by the Fitzroy players. Tony Morwood on the left foot, goes wide. Almost a mark to Browning. Play on, says the umpire. Serafini gives it out to Manane, and here's where Fitzroy look dangerous when they get that loose man going. Here they are with the big fly from behind. Poynton caught with the ball, and the umpire said it was held to him, and the ball will be bounced or thrown up at the centre half forward position in Fitzroy's forward zone. The scoreboard reads South Melbourne are 8-16, Fitzroy are 14 goals 9. Rendell against Round. Rendell gets a beautiful hit out over the back. It's all South Melbourne though, as Jackson tries to bore his way through the pack, and umpire Ian Robinson will bounce the ball once again. 25.5-minute mark of the final quarter, and certainly Fitzroy have this game well in hand. It's been a hard slogging quarter. South Melbourne have tried to get back into it, but as I say, the forward line has let them down. There's Serafini knocking the ball away from Browning. He goes back in after, tries to kick it off the ground. In there is Hanson on the bottom of that pack. Also there is Max James. And have a look at that glue pot there. Impossible for good football once the ball gets in that centre pitch area. Ruck Jules once again, Teasdale. Shove in the back there. Could have been a free kick there to McConnell. Umpire calls play on. And umpire Glenn James will bounce it, this time almost on centre wing position. Greg Smith on the left of your screen there has been a tireless worker for South Melbourne today. Certainly has lacked support from many of his players. Over the back of the pack, the ball's kicked by Bernie Evans down towards the half-forward line. Brian Brown overruns the ball. Oh, here's a chance for Allender. He goes in after it. The ball drops out of his hands. Going in after his Fascini, he lines up the goals, and what's he done with that one? He's put it through. Silvio Fascini for his 3rd goal of the match, and South Melbourne's still waiting on the scoreboard, attended their 9th. 9 goals, 16 South Melbourne. Fitzroy are 14 goals, 9. Back to the centre comes the ball, and belated effort by South Melbourne there. Fitzroy certainly have had no more of the play in general play than South Melbourne, but have capitalised up on that forward line where Les Parrish has kicked 5, Quinlan's kicked 3, Rendell's kicked 2. They've had those big players to fire at up there. There's Alexander, gets the hit out this time. Back into that mud patch it goes. Players very hard to pick up, and the umpire's picked out a free kick in the centre pitch area, and it goes to Kevin Goss, who is completely covered on one side with mud. A shocking kick, about a 10-metre kick, and it's marked there by McMahon. Out goes the handball out wide to Conlon, showing great strength off the ground. That's the way to play it on a wet day. Still going after it, thumps it off the ground once again, and the umpire's running over to speak to someone, and it looks like Rhys Jones, which having been spoken to for about the 10th time in this match. Certainly had plenty of lectures from the umpires. There's another shocking kick down towards the half-forward line. Coming out is Francis Jackson with the long hand pass. And there's the siren to sound the end of the game. Fitzroy, 14 goals, 9-93, have defeated South Melbourne. 9 goals, 16-70.